Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदान्तवेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे कृष्णद्वैपायनं व्यासं सर्वलोकहिते रतं वेदाब्जभास्करं वन्दे शमादिनिलयं मुनिं सहस्रमूर्ते पुरुषोत्तमस्य सहस्रनेत्राननपादबाहोः सहस्रनाम्नां स्तवनं प्रशस्तं निरुच्यते जन्मजरादिशान्त्यै. Namaste once again to all of you. So in the last class we completed the 6 questions which were asked by Yudhishthira to Bhishma. And what were the 6 questions? Kimekam daivatam loke. Loke kim ekam daivatam. First question. Then loke kim ekam parayanam. Third and fourth was kim stuvantaha kim archantaha manavaha shubham prapnuyuhu. Fourth, third and fourth. Then the fifth one was Sarva dharmanam kaha paramaha dharmaha. And the last one, Kim jaban janduhu samsara bandhanat muchyate. These were the 6 questions which Yudhishthira asked, and we have seen those questions in quite detail. And now Bhishmacharya is going to answer these questions. So we will read the sloka. Bhishma uvacha jagat prabhum deva devam anantam purushottamam stuvan nama sahasrena purushas satatotitaha. So this is how Bhishma starts answering the questions. My request, please switch off your video, because as I announced, some people are finding it difficult. When you pin the video, they are not able to see my video, they complained. So please switch off the video till the class is over. During question answer session, you can switch it off. So Bhishma Uvacha, and Adi Shankara makes it very clear. Sri Bhishma Uttaram Uvacha. So Bhishma Uvacha means he can say anything, right? So Adi Shankara is making very clear. This is the beauty of Adi Shankara. It's very, very specific about what he wants to say. Uttaram Uvacha. Now Bhishma is answering. He is giving out the answers, right? And very interestingly, he starts by describing the name Bhishma or Bhishma himself. And he says, सर्वेषां बहिरंत शत्रूणां भय हेतु भीष्मः मोक्ष धर्मादीनां प्रवक्ता सर्वज्ञः. This is how he is introducing Bhishma to us. Such a beautiful introduction. He says the very name Bhishma means Sarvesham Shatrunam Bhaya Hetuhu. Hetuhu means cause. Bhaya means fear. So Bhaya Hetuhu means the cause for fear or cause of fear. To whom? Sarvesham Shatrunam, all his enemies. All enemies of Bhishma, he is the cause of fear for them. Because Bhishma's Brahmacharya Nishtha, he is able to overpower all his enemies, Bahihi and Antah. The external enemies as well as the internal enemies. Internal means those enemies which are there in the mind. Kama, Krodha, Shatru. All the mana which is there, they are all enemies actually. So he is able to overpower such a both physical strength and mental strength. Bhishma. Okay. So he is the cause, Bhaya Hetu, for all the enemies. They are afraid of him. They don't come near him. Bhishma is there means a big issue. They won't go anywhere near him. And inside, of course, he is able to manage those enemies, the Kama, Krodha, the enemies. Outside, he is able to, destroy all his physical enemies. So he has got both Sharira Balam and Mano Balam as well. Okay. And then he has got all knowledge, all types of knowledge. So he says, Moksha Dharma Dina. We saw very elaborately the meaning of the word Dharma. And Bhishma has got the knowledge of all dharmas. Moksha Dharma Dina. In fact, this Moksha Dharma is a section in Mahabharata, which I told you earlier, has about 5,000 slokas. A very beautiful section. Of course, very few people will be able to read the whole Mahabharata, and in that also this particular Moksha Dharma portion. But if you read the slokas, you will know the intellectual prowess of Bhishma. Such a great intellectual he was, knew everything. Right? So he was well versed in all the dharmas, starting with Moksha Dharma, and he is the Pravakta. Pravakta means the one who has done Upadesha. Right? Of all these dharmas. And that's what he has given to Yudhishthira. All the dharmas, Upadesha he gave. And he is Sarvajnaha. It's an interesting word. Sarvajna means all knowing. Sarvam Janati iti Sarvajnaha. Laukikam, Vaidikam, Samasta Shastram he knows. But we must be careful in understanding this word Sarvajnaha. Because he knows this one. Shastram wise he is Sarvajna. He knows all the Shastrams. Otherwise, this word Sarvajnaha we attribute only to Ishvara. Sarvajnaha, Sarva Shaktiman. Because Ishvara is the totality of all knowledge that exists in the universe. So that is why we call Ishvara as Sarvajna. Sarvam Janati iti Sarvajna. Everything he knows, Ishvara knows. Whereas here we must take this word Sarvajna in a limited context of knowledge of all the Shastras, all the Dharmas, etc. That is how we have to interpret this word Sarvajnaha in this context. So we saw Yudhishthira asked 6 questions. And if you actually look at all the 6 questions, the essence of all his questions is, what is the means by which a jiva gets released from the bondage of samsara? This is what Yudhishthira wants to know. Because amongst all the dharmas, it is only the moksha dharma which will give you answer to this. No other dharma, all other dharmas are teaching very achievement of all other objectives, all other purusharthas in our life. Whether you take the Vedic mantras, the yagas, all those things, upasanas also, they can give you chitta shuddhi, they can give you chitta naishchalya, but they cannot relieve you from the bondage of samsara. They cannot liberate you. In all other dharmas, their limitation is you continue performing all the dharmas, you cannot escape the punarjan. It is only the moksha dharma which can provide that answer to what is to be done. So that is why Yudhishthira's focus in all the 6 questions is that, tell me that by which janma samsara bandhanat muchyate. That is what he wants. Because I think after the war, Yudhishthira also, like many of us, are fed up with the life. So looking for an escape from this Kali Yuga so that you don't come back at all. Because every day passes. You just imagine, Kali Yuga, the total period according to Shastra is 432,000 years. And we are in the Prathama Pada, which is just the 5,000 odd years we have completed. In fact, we can say we are in a sort of a Kali Yuga, and that is Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga Sandhi period. We are now. And during this period itself, we are seeing so much of problem that living has become, day by day, it is becoming a hell rather. And we don't know how we are going to be reborn, in what form. Even if we are going to be lucky enough or fortunate enough to be born again as a human being, our sufferings are only going to increase. They are not going to go away. So probably after the Kurukshetra war also, Yudhishthira felt that I don't want any more births. So Bhishmacharya, let me ask this question. Janma samsara bandhanat muchyate. What is it that I should do to get rid of it? Of course, this is, I'm just adding on my own. But the purpose of Bhishma or Yudhishthira asking this question is for our benefit. It is not that Yudhishthira, he has also studied all the Shastras and all that, right? But from what all he heard from Bhishma, this one thing he felt was missing, because Bhishma did not tell him about this Moksha Shastra in detail. So that is what he is asking. So if you actually look at it, the first question was, what? Kimekam Daivatam Loke. And what was the last question? Kim Jaban Jantuhu Samsara Bandhanat Muchyate. If you actually combine these 2 questions, you will get the essence of what he is asking. Which is that one God, one Lord, one Ishvara, one Daivam in this entire cosmos, whom if we worship, we will get rid of this Janma and Samsara bondage. This is the essence of the question. So when we read this Vishnu Sahasranamam, we must try to understand how these slokas we should connect, and what sentence we should form, and what is the essence of what Yudhishthira is asking. Right? And for that, Bhishma starts with the answer Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam Anantam Purushottamam. That is his answer. Straightforward answer. Okay. And this can be taken as an answer of Bhishma to Yudhishthira's first question, which is Kimekam Daivatam Loke. But traditionally, and including Adi Shankara, considers this as an answer of the last question of Yudhishthira, which is Kim Jaban Jantuhu Janma Samsara Bandhanat Muchyate. This is considered or interpreted as an answer to the last question. Even though if you actually look at the first question and the answer, it will fit very well. Anyhow, it doesn't matter for us because whatever it is, the answer is Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam, who is Anantam and who is Purushottam. This is what is the answer of Bhishma, right? And we will now understand the answer of this contained in this sloka in detail with the bhashyam of Adi Shankara. Okay, so I will just read the bhashyam. Jagat Stavara Jangamatmakam Tasya Prabhum Swaminam Devadevam Devanam Brahmadinam Devam Anantam Keshatah Kalatah Vastutahascha Aparichinnam Purushottamam Charaksharabhyam Karya Karanabhyam Utkrishtam Nama Sahasrena Nam Sahasrena Stuvan Gunan Sankirtayan Satatottitaha Nirantaram Udhyuktaha Purushaha Purnatvat Puri Shayanatvad Va Purushaha Sarva Dukkhadigo Bhavet Iti Sarvatra Sampadhyate. Such a beautiful, Vyakhyanam or commentary. Every word explained very beautifully. So that even a person with a even a very basic Sanskrit knowledge will understand the meaning straight away. No complicated, expressions. So Jagat, he says, Jagat means Stavara Jangamatmakam. Stavaram means what? Immovable, like the trees, plants, rocks, immovable, mountains. They are called Stavaram. Jangamam means movable. Animals, human beings, insects. Movable will include birds also, flyable also. Whatever can go from one place to another place, movable. So when he says Jagat, means we have to imagine all movables and immovables in this entire cosmos. That is what is meant by Jagat. Atmakam means in the form of. So Jagat means all those things which are in the form of movables and immovables. This is how we have to understand the word Jagat. So all living and non-living beings, and as I said, we should include everything: trees, birds, insects, plants, human beings, everything. That which keeps coming and going is Jagat. Jayate, that is born, and Gacchati, which goes, that is Jagat. Right? This is what some authors say. Jagat means Jayate, Gacchati, iti Jagat. Tasya Prabhum Swaminam. The Lord of all those Stavara Jangama, movable, immovable beings. Prabhu means Prakarshena Bhavati iti Prabhu, who is the Lord for everything. Swaminam, another word is applied. Swaminam also means master, who is the master of this creation. In essence, the creator. So when you say Prabhum, we have to understand creator. That's how we have to understand. Creator of this Stavara Jangamatmakam Jagat. Then Deva Devam. He says Deva Devam means what? Devanam Brahmadinam Devam. Brahmadina means Brahma Adinam. Starting from Brahma, Brahmaji. From that Brahmaji onwards, all the devas which are there, the 33 crore devas are there. He is the Lord of all those devas, right from Brahmaji, all the devas. Because according to our Shastras, in the creation, this Brahmaji was the first to be created by Ishvara. And then he delegated further creation to Brahmaji. Then Brahmaji created everything else. That is what the Shastras say, Puranas and all. So when you say Brahmadina means Brahma, etc., everything, all the creation, who is the Lord of everything, starting from Brahma, right? So all these devatas, what are they? They are only executives of the orders given by the High Command. High Command is a word we can use in India. We know what it is. Isn't it? So the High Command is the Lord. He is the one who is delegating all these powers to everybody. And that is how the entire world functions, the cosmos functions, because of these delegated powers. And actually, if you even look at from the Purana angle, Brahmaji actually is manifesting from the navel of Mahavishnu. We have seen that photo, isn't it? One lotus come, Brahmaji is there. So it is a symbolic representation that Brahmaji has come from the, has been created by Mahavishnu, who is a Prabhu Deva Devam. That is what we have to understand, right? And every Devata for us is a Ishvara. Because as we saw, the Karyam, that is the effect, will always have the gunas of the Karana, the cause. So if, when we say Ishvara has created the world, the attributes of that Ishvara, the powers of that Ishvara will manifest in the effect, which is the entire world, and especially the devatas which have been created. Surya Devata, Chandra Devata, so many Devayu, Agni, all are we consider them as devatas because they are all individual powers. Individual powers which govern this entire world. It's very simple to understand. It's not a very complicated thing. You take the cabinet of any country, any country, any government. There is a prime minister. Prime minister is got all the powers. Then he will appoint minister for each department. Education minister, finance minister, home minister, defense minister, like that. And the respective powers relating to that particular area will be delegated to these ministers. Whereas the prime minister can exercise all powers, these individual ministers can exercise their powers only what is delegated to them. So if we understand that system, we will understand how this entire cosmos is functioning. Same system. There is one Lord who is the superior most. He has got all powers, Sarva Shaktiman. He delegates powers to his 33 crore devatas. This is what, people don't understand all these things. They say, oh, idol worship 33 crore devatas, and you say on the one hand, there is only one God from where these 33 crore gods have come and all that. Ignorance. They don't have any understanding. Their limited thinking capacity is, I would say, that it's the underground. When we say Devata, we are not meaning any individual entity. We are referring to a power. And let anybody come and ask, do you have a power to see? Do you have a power to speak? Do you have a power to smell? Do you have a power to hear? Everybody will say yes. From where that power has come to you? Because each of these devatas have got the total power relating to that particular faculty. And what happens is that power is distributed to all the beings, all the living beings, by each of them. For example, the devata for sight, Chakshu, Surya Devata. Surya Devata has got the power to illumine the whole world. Isn't it? How we illumine the world through our eyes. We see the world through our eyes only. That light of that Surya Bhagavan, unless that power is there in our eyes, we cannot see anything. So, what happens is, that power, the total power which Surya Devata has got, a minuscule portion of that is distributed to everyone. And that is how we get that power to see. Similarly, hearing. The devatas are called Ashwini Kumaras, Dik Devata. The devatas relating to the direction. Ashwini Kumaras. They have got the total power of hearing. They distribute to everybody. Very minuscule. In fact, if you actually look at the number of living beings who get this power, what we get is a very, very tiny portion of that big total power. But that is enough for us, for our purposes. And that too also based upon our karma, whether we get the full tiny portion or half tiny portion, all that, or whether it continues throughout our life, or that Ashwini Kumara takes it away after some time, when we are past 60 years or something like that. All those are all based on our karmas. But the power is there. So when we understand Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam, we have to understand this whole concept of these devatas. Very, very important from a Shastric angle. If we don't understand devatas, we will not understand creator. So that is what he says, right? So sun, from this standpoint of the total power of sight, becomes the devata, Aditya Devata. And mind you, when we say devata, we are referring to the power of the sun, not the physical sun. Again, we have to be very, very careful. Physical sun is there. But when we say it's a devata, we are referring to the power of the sun, the power of sight, seeing everything in the world. Similarly, in our case also, whenever we say that we are seeing, these two eyes, they are just merely instruments. These eyes have got no power on their own. It is the faculty of sight which we have, which enables us to use the eyes and see the world. That faculty is what is the power in us. Eyes are not the power. Eyes are just what you can call, that's called golakam in Sanskrit. In Shastra, it's called golakam. Just merely instruments. That is why a dead body cannot see. Why? Because that faculty of power, that faculty of sight has gone away from the dead body. Eyes are still there, but they can't see. Dead bodies can't see. So we must understand all these things. Whatever we are seeing, they are merely instruments. The real power is inside us, which is there in the form of Sukshma Sharira, it's a subject matter of Tattva Bodha. But just because I'm on the topic, I'll just tell That is in the subtle form. We can't see that power. But we can see with that power, but we can't see the power itself. We can experience that power, but we can't see the power. So like that we have to understand when we say Deva Devam, Chandra Devata, Surya Devata, all these things. Chandra Devata is the presiding deity for the mind, for Manas, the power of Chandra, not the physical moon, that waxing waning moon, no, the power of the Chandra. So like that there is there, a very detailed this thing. In fact, those who know Rudram, and in the Lagunyasam, this description comes. Prajanane Brahma Tishtato. Then Brahma Tishtato. I'm just forgetting.
Asikayor voice.
Nayanayau Chandradityau Tishtetam, Karnayor Ashvinau Tishtetam, Lalate Rudras Tishtanto, Murdnya Dityas Tishtanto, Shirasi Mahadevas Tishtato, Shikhayam Vamadevas Tishtato, all devatas, wherever they are there, that is explained. Agnirme Vachi Shritaha. Agni Devata is in our speech. Vayurme Prane Shritaha. Vayu Devata is in our pranas. So like that, if you know the Rudram and all, you will know to some extent. It's not all the 33 crore described there, but important ones are described. And that is for what? For visualization, for meditation on all the devatas. When you are doing Rudrabhishekam or doing any japa for that matter, how do you do the japa? You do, first of all, visualize all the devatas in your own body. Consider yourself as that devatas. And then you are making the puja or offering to the Parama Devata. Even when you will do Sandhya Vandana Mantaram, before we start this Gayatri Japam, what is the mantra? Asau Aditya Brahman, Asau Aditya Brahma, Tat Brahmam Aham Asmi. So you are actually visualizing that Brahman, not Brahmaji, Brahman, Atma and Brahman. So you are actually visualizing, and we say Savitri Avahyami, Gayatri Avahyami, Saraswati Avahyami. Invoke all these devatas in your own body, and then do the japam, do the meditation, do this. This is the way you have to do. This is the process you have to do meditation. So all these things, if you read the Shastras and all, you will know all these things in much, much more detail. In fact, Tattva Bodha students who are here, we will see all these about devatas in Tattva Bodha. Very detailed explanation is there. Okay. Anyway, let us go ahead. So, all these phenomena of the faculties which have all are of devatas. And therefore, Bhishma says, Jagat Prabhu, who is Parameshwara, is the Deva Deva. Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam Anantam Purushottamam, the Lord of all Devatas, the one who has got all the power and who has delegated all the powers. Right? So we can look at it in a different way. All these powers are all belonging to Ishvara and they are all delegated to these Devatas. That is what we call as Devatas. We don't mean by Devatas means having some form and rupa and all that. That may be there, but that we don't consider the Devata. Even in a temple, if there is a Shivalinga, if there is a statue or the idol of the god, we don't consider the idol as the Devata or the god. We consider the power which has been done after doing the Prana Pratishta and Kumbhabhishekam, all that. for that idol, a certain power is actually given to that idol. Idol is just a symbol. Because for the power to reside, you require some physical entity. But that idol itself is not the power. The power is within the idol. And that is the power we get to share when we go to a temple. That is why we go to a temple, in fact. To get power means what? Is a positive energy. So when we go to the temple, often we will get that part, minuscule also if we get more than enough. That is the reason why we have to go to the temple. One of the reasons, there are so many reasons are there, but one of the main reasons why we should go to the temple, if we understand that, we will, when we go to the temple, we will see beyond the deity. We will see the power of the deity, the glory of the deity. That is how we have to understand. Okay. So then he says anantam. Anantam means deshatah, kalatah, vastutah cha aparichinnam. Aparichinnam means limited. Sorry, parichinnam means limited. Aparichinnam means not limited. That is limitless. So deshatah, space-wise, kalatah, time-wise, vastutah, object-wise, aparichinnam, not limited. So, what is the kind of that Prabhu, that Ishvara, that Devadevam? He is Deshatah, Kalatah, Vastutah, Aparichinnam. Not limited by space, not limited by time, not limited by object. Means what? Limitless. Sarvavyapi, all pervading. He is everywhere. See how beautifully Shankaracharya is bringing us from a Devadevam concept to a Brahman concept. The word Vishnu, he has brought in indirectly here. Vishnu Vyapane, all pervading. He has brought in, very subtly he has brought that meaning into this Devadevam. That is the beauty of Adi Shankara. Okay. So, Ishvara is in the form of everything in this cosmos. You cannot say Ishvara and. There is no Ishvara and, because he is the only one. Isn't it? You can say Ishvara and if there is another one equal to Ishvara, but there is none. So there is only Ishvara. And that's why, as I used to say, Pujya Swamiji says it is wrong, it is incorrect to say there is one God. The right expression should be there is only God. That is the right expression, because there is nothing else. Everything is Ishvara only. You, me, everything is Ishvara. Manifestation of that Ishvara. This laptop with this, my drinking water flask, everything is manifestation of Ishvara. Once you see everything in that way, with that attitude, reverence automatically will come for everything in this world. You will protect the environment, you will respect every other human being, you will love, the animals rather. There won't be any dvesha against anything. This vision is what we need to develop when in the spiritual path. And that's what Krishna refers to as Sarvatma Bhava. Sarvatma means everything is the same. And what everything is the same? Everything is the same Ishvara. That's all. And that's why I keep saying Ishvara is something to be understood, not to be believed. What is Ishvara? What is Bhagavan? We have to understand what it is. Not merely below there is a Bhagavan and he is a creator and he will save me from all the dukkha's and everything. That is valid at some stage, lower stage, at the high school level. When you progress in spirituality, you will start understanding what that Ishvara is. And once you understand that Ishvara, you can see that Ishvara in your own self, in this physical body, each and every faculty, if you start understanding, you will understand that Ishvara. So that is how we have to approach the Shastras, understanding the Shastras. Right? And then he says Purushottamam. Purushottamam means what? He says Kshara Ksharabhyam Karya Karanabhyam Utkrishtam. And this is based upon the 3 slokas which are there in Bhagavad Gita in the 15th chapter. This word Purushottam. Dvavimau Purushau Loke Charakshakshara eva cha Ksharas sarvani bhutani Kutastokshara uchyate Uttama Purushastvanyah Paramatmetyudharitaha Yo logatrayamavishya Vibhatyavyaya Ishwaraha Yasmaksharamati Aksharaadapi chottamaha atosmi loke vedecha pratitah purushottamaha. So this word Purushottama is from Bhagavad Gita. Either way you can take, because author of Vishnu Sahasranamam and author of Bhagavad Gita are one and the same person, Vedavyasa. So this word Purushottama, this Adi Shankara's explanation as Kshara Ksharabhyam Utkrishtaha, Karana Karanabhyam Utkrishtaha is coming from these 3 slokas of Bhagavad Gita. And that is another important aspect we must observe in the Bhashyam of Adi Shankara. Whenever he is giving an explanation, it is based upon some Shastra, some Praman. These are not words that he uses himself. His erudition, his knowledge is so vast. Not only knowledge is so vast, he has read everything. Shruti, Smriti, Purana, Nam, Alayam. He is the temple of Shruti, Smriti and Puranas. Everything. Such a young age, he has studied so much. And not only that, the beauty is, we can also, some of us can do so many things or study so many things. But to recall it at the right juncture, we can't do it. Adi Shankara does that. When he sees a word anywhere, he will immediately recall, oh, this was said exactly the same way in that Upanishad or in Bhagavad Gita or in this Purana, and he will quote from there. We will see hundreds of examples in Vishnu Sahasranamam Bhashyam itself. Every word he will say, this is all from there. Here he doesn't say that, but this is my Guru's contribution, that this is from where it comes, because it fits in. The explanation fits in. So Shankaracharya must have taken it from Bhagavad Gita. That is the conclusion we can come to. The words are very much matching. Okay. So in Gita, Bhagavan Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that there are 2 types of persons or 2 types of entities in this world. What are they? Ksharaha and Aksharaha. Ksharaha means perishable. Aksharaha means non-perishable. These are the only, in fact, you can classify this world, this entire cosmos in various ways. One we saw Stavara Jangama, movables and immovables, one type of classification. Another type of classification, Chara Akshara, perishable and non-perishable. Now you will ask, perishable, we can understand what is this non-perishable. It is not visible to our eyes. In fact, it is not visible to any of our faculties. That non-perishable, Pramanam, the source of knowledge is only the Upanishads, Shastras. That is what we call Brahman, non-perishable, Akshara Purusha. Right? Changeless, imperishable. Kutastaha. Kutastaha. And in fact, what is non-perishable, we should go one step further. It is not just Brahman. Brahman is non-perishable. Along with Brahman, the power of Brahman, that the Maya Shakti of Brahman, is what we refer to as non-perishable. So we must be careful in understanding this perishable, non-perishable means everything which is there in this universe. Everything is perishable. Everything has got a date of birth and a date of expiry. It is all there. The power of Ishvara, the Maya Shakti as we call, that is what is referred to as non-perishable Akshara. And that is what is also he refers to Kutastaha. Kutastaha Nityam says, right? And he says, a person who is Utkrishtaha, who is superior to both this perishable and non-perishable, is that Prabhu, who is that Deva Devam. That's what he says, right? So, what Krishna is saying here is, these two types of things, perishable and non-perishable, are there, and I am above these two, perishable and non-perishable, and that is why I am called Purushottama. That is how we have to understand these slokas. So what Adi Shankara here is saying is that Ishvara is in the form of this manifest Jagat, which is called Chara Purusha, which is perishable, which is actually the effect or a karyam. And after the resolution of this world, after the pralaya, Mahapralaya, before the next creation, this world exists in a non-perishable form, in the seed form. And that non-perishable form is what is called Maya Shakti. So, both this perishable and non-perishable Jagat, the creator of both of these is that Ishvara. And that Ishvara that is why he is Utkrishtam, he is superior to all these perishable, non-perishable. So he is superior to the perishable things in this Jagat. He is also superior to Maya Shakti. Because the creation of this world, we say Ishvara created this world, as we saw right in the beginning. With what did he create? He created out of his own body. Okay, fine. Material cause is there. What is the instrumental cause? Because you require some instrument to create, isn't it? Maya Shakti is the instrumental cause. So Ishvara used his own Maya Shakti as an instrument, and he used his own body or his what you can say physique as the material cause and created this world. And that is why everything in this world has got both the qualities, because they are the karanam for the karya of this world, right? But Ishvara in his own nature is Utkarsha. He is beyond this Maya and this perishable, imperishable worlds. Okay, so that's why he says Chara Charabhyam Karya Karanabhyam. Karyam you can take it as perishable Jagat, and Karanam you can take it as Maya, the instrumental cause. Utkrishta means what? He is above, superior to both these. That is Ishvara. That is how we have to understand what is this Prabhum or Deva Devam on Ishvara means. Okay. And Purushottama. And Krishna says, that is why I am called Purushottama. So, without Purushottama, this perishable and non-perishable have no independent existence. Because both perishable and non-perishable exist in that Purushottama, in that Brahman only, or that Ishvara only. They have no independent existence. Their existence is depending upon that Purushottama, right? They in fact borrow their existence from the Purushottama only. Who is what? Satchidananda Rupaya. He is in the form of Sat, Chit and Ananda, that Purushottam. We'll see all that later. Right to the beginning. That's why Shankaracharya, his own Mangala Shloka, he starts with Satchidananda Rupaya. Existent, pure existence. That Ishvara is the nature of pure existence. And everything else we say is in this world. Or am in this world. This isness and amness. This bhu dhatu and as dhatu. To exist, meaning to exist. Borrowed from that Ishvara only. From the Sat aspect of that Ishvara. The existence, pure existence aspect of that Ishvara. That's how we have to understand, right? It is just like the ornaments, they borrow their existence from what? From gold. If there is no gold, no ornaments will be there. Gold is permanent. Gold will not change. Ornaments, you can change their shape and name. Similarly, this entire world is only Nama Rupatmaka. Can go on changing the name and form of this, everything in this world. But the existence you can't change. Today, you have a chair, a wooden chair, you say chair is. But you actually break down the chair. What will you say wooden pieces are? You burn the chair, turn it into ashes. What will you say ashes is or ashes are? The isness of the material in this world will never go away. It can change its form, it can change its name. From chair, it can become wooden pieces. From wooden pieces, it can become ashes. Name change. Form change. From a proper chair which can be used to sit, it can be changed into form of a wooden pieces. It can be changed to form of ashes. All that can be changed, but the isness cannot be changed. That isness is Ishvara. That is how we have to understand the Shastras, understand what God is, what Ishvara is. And this is the teaching which our Shastras give us. Okay. And so many examples are there, gold ornaments. I gave you wood chair example. So Shankaracharya says, Nama Sahasrena. Nam Sahasrena means with 1,000 names. That Ishvara, that Jagat Prabhu, that Deva Devam has got 1,000 names. And again, as I said, 1,000 names of glory. 1,000 is only indicative number. That his name, every name and form in the world we experience is the name and form of that Ishvara only. Why 1,000 names? Millions of names are there. Your name, my name is all name of that Ishvara only, because we are no different. We are all created by that Ishvara. But here, for the sake of this Stuvantaha, Archantaha, he has given 1,000 names. You just, because those 1,000 names actually are relevant because they are actually the glories of Ishvara. They are expounding the glories of Ishvara. If you take a name as puppy or so many names are there, you won't know what is the glory in the word puppy, isn't it? It's a name of Ishvara, you can understand. From the logically, you can understand name, but you won't know the glory. So these 1,000 names are highlighting the glories of Ishvara. That is how we have to understand why 1,000 names only, right? Stuvan. Stuvan word we have already seen earlier. Adi Shankara says, Gunan Sankirtayan means singing his glories, praising his qualities, doing Parayanam of Vishnu Sahasranamam. All these meanings we can take. Purusha. And Adi Shankara gives two meanings of this word Purusha. Purnatvat Purusha. Purusha means being of the name of fullness. He is complete. Limitless means what? Fullness. Then nothing limits him. Purnatvam is what fullness is about. So Purnatvat Purusha, the one who is complete, full in all respects, is Purusha. One meaning he gives, right? Then another one he says Puri Shayanatvat Purusha. Second meaning, Va means or. Puri Shayana means what? Puri here refers to our body. Because in the Shastras, our body is referred to as a Puri. Puri means what? A town or a city, right? So, very beautiful explanation there. I won't go detail into that. But see, like a city, in olden days, of course, the city is fortified and there are many gates in the city. Like that, we have got 9 gates in our body through which all transactions are taking place. In and out transactions are taking place. And that is one reason the body is called Puri. And the master of this Puri is what? Ishvara. He resides in this body. This is his abode. So, Puri Shayanatvat, he says, right? So, he is inside and also outside this body. Ishvara is everywhere. Obviously, he is inside the body also, right? So, that is why he is called one who is actually staying in the body, which is called a Puri, or one who is in the of the nature of fullness, Purnaha. For both these reasons, he is called Purusha. The word Purusha means both these things, right? So, is referring to here as the Jivatma, basically. Purusha in our context is a Jivatma, but Purusha in the context of the Samashti, the totality, is that Ishvara. You have to understand in that manner. Satata Uttitaha means Nirantaram Udyuktaha, who is always active, very zealously active rather. Who is always committed by praising the Lord. Every moment he is thinking only of the Lord, singing his glories with his 1,000 names. Right? This sloka does not say what will happen to the Jivatma who does this with high degree of commitments, constantly sings the glories of the Ishvara, praises the qualities of Parameshwara and all as described in this sloka. Therefore, Adi Shankara, what he does, he adds these words, Sarva Dukkhadigaha Bhavet iti Sarvatra Sampadyate. These words are there in, I think, the 12th shloka, which we will see later. And he says that we have to bring those words and attach it to this verse also. That the one who does all these things, who understands that Ishvara as it has been described, and who is Satata Uttitaha, Nirantaram Udyuktaha, who is always committed to singing the glories of such a Ishvara with the 1,000 names, Nam Nam, Sahasranamam, Nam, what he will get, he says, Sarva Dukkadigo Bhavet, which is said in the later sloka, that we have to understand. He will cross over all miseries and sorrows in his life. That is what he says there in this sloka. Sarva Dukkadigo Bhavet, Sarva Dukkaha Adigaha Bhavet. Adikaha means one who crosses over all the dukkhas and sorrows. So he will go beyond all sorrows. Right? So one will actually, what you can say, be free from the sorrows, or one can actually bypass the sorrows. Sorrows will be there, but you can manage your way out of the sorrows. Even that means what? Even sorrows come, it will not affect that person. Such a person who is doing this Vishnu Sahasranam. Because Ishvara through this Parayanam will give enough mental and physical strength to bear all dukkhas. Dukkhas will come because of karma, past karmas. But What will be the advantage is that we will be having the strength, both physical and mental, to bear the dukkhas and have the capacity to tolerate any kind of dukkhas which comes in our life. And this is the general phala for this japa, archana, stuti, etc. So to praise Parameshwara is to understand him, and whenever any glory is seen in anybody, anywhere, we have to understand that to be the glory of Parameshwara. That means only by understanding him one can praise him. Without understanding, any praise is not a praise but just a flattery, right? And with understanding, it becomes knowledge. That is what it says, right? So we'll see more of this later. Their time is over. Okay, next class we will continue. Okay, say the prayers. Any questions? I can take. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you very much, all of you.
Raghuji, I have a question, Raghuji. This is Padma.
Yes, please.
I kind of understand, but not clear. Can you define Maya? Maya, I know it is unexplainable. It is also mithya. If you can define that, because my students ask me, and I just wanted to explain to them, when I'm explaining Gita. So if you could explain that, that would be nice.
Yeah, I will explain that. I will try to give a full explanation.
I mean,
this Maya has got different names, right? Mithya,
yes.
Maya, Avidya, all these
Yes.
are there. Okay. See, Maya is a power.
Okay.
A power because of which the entire world is coming into existence.
Okay.
Ishvara uses this Maya power to create the world. Because if suppose, let us take an example, if we have to create something, what are the things that we require? Suppose we want to create a chair. Let's just take a simple example. I want to make a chair. I'm a carpenter. I want to make a chair. What all things I should have? I should have the knowledge of how to make a chair. Right?
And material, yes.
No, second, material is required. Third, I require instruments.
Yes.
At least these three things I require to make a chair. And of course, time and space I require to make a chair. Right? So what happens is, I as a carpenter am Ishvara. I have knowledge of making this chair. And I have the power to use the instruments to make the chair. Power in my hands and power in my brain, my power in my eyes, power in my ears, everything is there. To make the chair, I have that power. But that power is what? It is depending on me. I have to use that power in order to make the chair. So that power which I have is what is called Maya.
Oh, I see.
Without Maya, Ishvara is powerless, because when we describe Ishvara in the form of Brahman in the Shastra, we say that Ishvara is beyond time and space. We say Ishvara does not have any gunas. We say Ishvara does not have any vikaras. Vikara means he does not undergo any change. But he is Sarvanya, Sarva Shaktiman. That Sarvanya, Sarva Shaktiman components of the Ishvara which we talk about is actually the Maya Shakti. So, as a human being, we are powered by an invisible entity. And that is what we call Jivatma. And all the other powers that we have with us the power of knowledge. You can put it in a simply Kriya Shakti, then Jnana Shakti. What is the third one?
Icha Shakti.
Icha Shakti.
Icha Shakti.
Icha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti. All these powers are all there in us, right? So Maya is described as all the Shaktis, the power to create the world. Because Brahman as such is just like President of India, can't do anything on his own. Brahman only lends existence, consciousness, and limitlessness to the entire world. That is why, along with Ishvara, Maya is also Anadi Ananta. This is, I mean, a simple explanation of Maya. And then if you go into philosophical explanation, I will have to go into Avidya, Maya. Everything is Maya Karyam. This entire world is Maya Karyam. And the word Mithya has to be understood in the context of Satyam. Satyam means that which exists. In Tattva Bodha it says, Trikale api tishtati tat Satyam. That which exists in all three periods of time. That is Satyam. Whereas Mithya is that which is existing on the borrowed existence from the Satya. Dependent existence. Mithya has also got existence, but its existence is depending on the Satya. So similarly, the existence of this entire world is borrowed from the pure existence, the principle of existence, which is Ishvara. The eastness which we attribute to the world, it is actually borrowed from that Ishvara. And that is why we call it Mithya. Mithya means not false. Mithya means dependent existence. That is Mithya. So when we see later on, what is that one permanent thing in this world is only Ishvara or that Satyam. That is the only permanent. Everything else is impermanent. Impermanent means that they go on changing. That is impermanent. So the entire spiritual journey is all about getting out of this Maya world and becoming one with the principles of existence, consciousness, and limitlessness, which is Ananda, which is happiness, eternal happiness. Yes. That is the whole journey, and that is what is moksha is all about. So to answer your question, Maya, you can just understand it as a power, which Ishvara, Ishvara's power is Maya. Without Maya, Ishvara cannot create this world. That is how we have to understand Maya.
Thank you very much. It's clear. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Explain to your students.
Yes, no, I know. I mean, now I have something.
Gurus who are explaining, they will confuse people more. That is why.
No, I will do. That's what this I will do. Like simple explanation. I know what to.
Guruji,
I
have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
This Vishnu Sahasranamam essence and Bhagavad Gita essence is more or less similar, right, in terms of Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga?
No. Bhagavad Gita, certain portions touch upon the purpose for which the Vishnu Sahasranamam exists. For example, in Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna talks about Karma Yoga and all, that part of that Karma Yoga is this Vishnu Sahasranamam. You can take it that way.
Overlap.
Basically, Karma Yoga means what? Nishkama Karma. That is Ishvara Arpana Buddhi and Ishvara Prasada Buddhi. That is the essence of Karma Yoga. So what there in Bhagavad Gita it says that it is actually Bhagavad Gita is a very comprehensive document, right? It takes you through the entire spiritual journey, right from Dvaitam to Visishta Advaitam to Advaita. Everything is there. That's why it is a very comprehensive document, Bhagavad Gita. But while studying Bhagavad Gita, we must understand which is that what is being talked about. So Vishnu Sahasranamam will give you Chitta Shuddhi. Bhagavad Gita, if you follow Karma Yoga, all practices, it will also give you Chitta Shuddhi. But Karma Yoga cannot give you moksha. Only Jnana Yoga can give you moksha. Only knowledge can give moksha. Knowledge of your true self, which is nothing but Ishvara, nothing but Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi knowledge or Tattvamasi knowledge alone can give us moksha. So that is very clear in all the Shastras. But Bhagavad Gita and Vishnu Sahasranamam, this way you can connect that it both of them, the purpose will you will gain more chitta shuddhi, because for the jnanam to settle in your mind, purity of the mind is very much required. That knowledge of that aham brahmasmi will not set in a dirty surface. Purity is required. And these are all the modes or methods through which we can gain more. Yeah. So that is how the connection you can make. But directly there is no connection, because that is a different level in Bhagavad Gita. You know, that is actually Vedanta teaching. Bhagavad Gita is nothing but Upanishad only. Upanishad Saram only is Bhagavad Gita. So here this we cannot equate Vishnu Sahasranam with Bhagavad Gita, because it is much more broader canvas. Bhagavad Gita. The emphasis more on Karma Yoga and then later on Jnana Yoga. Bhakti, of course, is underlying everything. Even a Jnani also has to have Bhakti. Just because you have become a Jnani does not mean you don't have Bhakti. There's a different kind of Bhakti which Krishna talks about. What is that kind of Bhakti he talks about in Bhagavad Gita? Yeah. Any other question?
Guruji, when you say God-fearing or believe in God, does it have a meaning?
Well, you can have a meaning at a lower level of your intellect, lower level of your spiritual journey, God-fearing and all that. Because we don't need to fear God.
Correct.
Because what is God-fearing? I mean, why should we have any fear? In fact, the whole knowledge is about removing all fears.
All fears.
Isn't it? All anxiety, all fears, all insecurities. The whole Vedanta is about removing that.
Removing that.
So, but then people say God-fearing because they don't understand. You know, I mean, as I keep telling, our Shastras take you from different levels, right? From KG primary level up to the PhD level. So you must relate. Whenever you hear all these things, we must be able to relate. Okay, this is a primary school teaching. There they will say all these things. But when you go into the undergraduation course, all that you have learned and all, set aside, and then they will teach you higher things. Not that you forget that, but they won't be relevant any longer. Isn't it? So you will go to higher level, then when you go to postgraduate and PhD, you will go on narrowing your area of specialization. And when you come to the PhD level, Upanishad level, only Brahman is the subject matter. Nothing else matters. You just have to understand that Brahman, and Upanishad after Upanishad explain what that Brahman is. Because the problem is the only pramana, the only proof or source of knowledge for knowing that Brahman is the Shastra, the Upanishads. We cannot know about that Brahman from anywhere else. Our five sense of instruments cannot actually understand that Brahman, or cannot experience that Brahman. So only Shastra is the pramana. Like for so many things, for Punya Papa also, can you see Punya Papa? Can you hear Punya Papa? Can you taste Punya Papa? Can you smell Punya Papa? No. Shastra is the pramanam for Punya Papa. So similarly, Brahman also is a concept, or it's a principle. Rather, Brahman is a principle, not an entity, not an object. It is a principle of pure existence, pure consciousness, and pure happiness. Chit and Ananda. That is the principle. That principle, one has to first understand what that principle is, which you can't see, you can't hear anything. How will you understand? You can only recognize that Brahman based on two things: what the Shastra says, and then use the Shastra words or test the Shastra words against logic. That is logic which is supporting the Shastra, and then come to the understanding that yes, Brahman exists. Kathopanishad explains this very beautifully.
Understood.
If we ask the question, how is life? How does life exist? We will say because of breathing. How does breathing happen? What will you say? Breathing just like that happens. Does anything in the universe happens just like that? There has got to be something. That's the logic we have to use. There has got to be something which makes this breathing happen. There is a power which is being supplied for this breathing to happen. So all these things are detailed topics. When we go detailed into Shastras, so many, I mean, it's never-ending thing. What life is not enough to study the Shastras. So many things are there. But then what Upanishads do is that they say, all this is, don't worry about all these things. You just understand the logic and recognize the principle which are involved: existence principle, consciousness principle, and Ananda or Anantam, which is what Taittiriya Upanishad says. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Brahma is defined as Satyam, Jnanam, and Anantam, limitlessness. And that is what he has brought here, Anantam, Purushottamam. So all these things are very,
thank you.
very, very intense topics. But if you have inclination for that, you will jump into it, and it's so nice to know your real nature, and the real nature of us, such a beautiful thing. And we are, drowned in ignorance that we are taking ourselves to be small and limited and, parichinna and all. We are actually aparichinna. Our nature is aparichinna. If you understand that, that's it. Finished. No more rebirth. And also in this life also, sarva dukkha dukkadigo bhavet. Cross over all sorrows. No sorrow, no misery. Any more question? Nothing? Okay, we'll then continue.
Namaste, Guruji.
Hari Om Mahodaya, धन्यवादः.
Thank you.
Guruji.
नमस्ते गुरुजी धन्यवादः
धन्यवादः नमस्ते
हरि ओम गुरुजी
हरि ओम
Hari Om Guruji.
हरि ओम